Good morning. Um, Tuesday. No, is it Wednesday? Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you all. Yeah, what a good day, isn't it? Good morning, Susan. It is a beautiful day. It's certainly not uh, feeling very summery or very almost July, but I'll take it. Um, it was downright cold last night. I had to close some windows. Um, so strange, right? But again, nice. I'm not sure how the plants are loving it. It's a bit extreme for them, but we'll see. Hopefully they'll. Well, I mean, I know they'll adapt. That's what they do. But today I'm probably gonna get out and do some yard work. I was gonna do that yesterday, but it was kind of raining, and that's always kind of a deterrent for me to be out in the yard. Really shouldn't be because we get a lot of rain, but maybe not all day like yesterday. But uh, yeah, I'm looking forward to um, getting some stuff done. Um, I've been trying to pay more attention to when the big weeds are taking over different sections of the yard. It's funny, like how things change in your ability to do things and your attention, right? Um, as we move through different times in our life, we have different amounts of time for stuff. Um, the yard in particular, I was thinking, why have I never done this before? And I'm like, oh yeah, well, I had a bunch of kids running around. I had a bunch of other things. And the last thing on my mind was whether there was a weed growing in my garden. But now I'm actually paying a little more attention to that. So never fear, don't despair. If you have things in your life that you have not gotten to yet, um, and you think you never will, don't give up because I bet you will. Um, Usually, we are all just our plate is too full, right? We have taken on too many things in a small period of time, right? Um, my rule is everything takes twice as long as you think it will, right? You're, or at least that I will, because I think my powers of estimation, although I think I've gotten better at it over the years, my husband and I always have a conflict over that because he'll say, "Oh, it's only going to take 10 minutes," and it takes a half an hour for sure. Um, but the rule of thumb is it's just going to take longer than you think. Um, Everything, right? Not and through no fault of your own, right? It's not that you don't move as fast as you used to. It's because we rarely know the scope of what we do when we start. Um, if we if we understood the scope of what we were doing, uh, I think there's a reason for that. Because if we understood the scope, I bet there are many things we wouldn't even get started on. We would be like, oh no, that is off-putting. I am not doing that. Kind of the same way with yoga, right? When you walked into a yoga class for the very first time, if you knew that you were jump starting an interest in something that would be a lifelong pursuit, that might have given you a little more pause. Now, it's not required, right? But if you want to develop your skills with yoga, if you want to um, really reap the benefits, then yeah, it is something you will be probably working on your entire life. Um, and that's good. That's how it should be. Um, Too many people, I think, believe that there is an end to what we learn and what we work on. I think the real secret is there isn't any end. Even when you've completed something, even when you graduated from school or qualified for a um, job or a certification or whatever it is you are working on achieving in your life, that's not the end. Honestly, that is really just the beginning of your journey through whatever uh, skills you're developing. Um, Sometimes that's, the level at which you realize how much more there is to go. Um, and again, like everything else in our life, it is being revealed as it should be. Right? Um, we don't need to know all the other stuff when we first start. Right? It can be confusing and overwhelming to have too much information at the beginning. Um, but things will become revealed as time moves on. Um, the saying is, as the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I believe that to be true. Um, Now, I don't believe that teacher is always an actual physical being or a person who's telling you what to do. I believe the teacher is frequently yourself, or a source of knowledge, a book, a website, a workshop, a class that you take, an offhand comment that you hear when you're out at the grocery store, something that triggers that step into the next level of knowledge for you. Maybe it comes in meditation, right? I'm a big believer in um, the unconscious world and the communication of unconscious beings, perhaps, to us. I don't really know how it works. Uh, I don't know enough about it to be knowledgeable. I'm certainly skeptical of some things, but there have been a lot of incidences in my life where I have come upon knowledge unbidden. Um, it bubbles up from somewhere that is not me. Um, or I should not say it's not me. It is me, right? It's all me. It's all you. It's all of us. It's not my awareness. It's not my um, sometimes you can tell the difference, right, between your thoughts and thoughts that just have come to you. Um, that small still voice that comes from within, that guidance, right? That is what comes to you when you're ready, when you are ready for the next bit of information. Um, a treasure hunt, if it were, if you want to call it that. So when um, my dad didn't do a lot of um, stuff for us in like um, a frivolous way, right? I mean, it's not really frivolous, but he was a very he was a very busy guy. He was a very no nonsense guy. He had his own business for years and years. Worked 6 days a week, but he was home. 6:30 at night. Dad was going to be home. You knew it every day. You could count on it. He didn't do anything on the weekends except work and do work on the yard. Working on Saturday, working on the yard on Sunday. That was it. He was very dependable, very solid, but not very whimsical or frivolous, right? Uh, but the one thing that he did for us as a kid that I will always remember is treasure hunts. Um, Valentine's Day, he had these elaborate treasure hunts for us with clues and puzzles to solve. He'd write things down and then cut them up, and you had to put them back together. Um, just kind of amazing stuff, like really, really well thought out. He put the clue in a little glass vial and flush it down the toilet with a piece of filament line. So you had to fish it back out. One time he wrote it on a tiny strip of paper with a magnifying glass, put it in plastic, and then cut a little sliver out of the soap in the soap dish, put it in there, and packed it back in. Um, like kind of evil genius level treasure hunts. And we loved it. We loved it. I looked forward to that every year. We did. And at some point, we got older and didn't want it. This was, we were kind of in our, I don't know, maybe like age like 8 to like 12 or 13. That was really the high point of the treasure hunts. I tried to do this with my own kids. And first of all, it's a lot of work. I realized that. Second of all, they were not really into it. I thought they would be, and they weren't. That to me was a real lesson in how you are not them, right? what you enjoyed is not necessarily what your children will enjoy, or your parents, or your spouse, or your friends, or anybody. You can try, right? But don't be disappointed when they don't care for it, or they're like looking at you like, are you crazy? What is enjoyable about this? Yeah, my kids hate it. so I struggled with it for a few years, and then we just never did that anymore, and that was fun. Hopefully they have other good memories. But when I come across those things, I get that same thrill. Oh, here's a clue. Here's something that's going to lead me to the next thing. So if you can think of, if you like treasure hunts, if you're interested in puzzles and solving puzzles, which I love, that is maybe a great way to think of your learning and your process. You are uncovering these gems, these treasures, and they aren't just treasures in and of themselves. They are giving you clues. They are leading the way for the next thing. And if that feels overwhelming to you, if it feels daunting, because I know it can, know that you are free to stay wherever you are. You don't have to go on. If you've done enough treasure hunt and you're like, yeah, done. I'm done. That's fine. There is no. Each one of these things is a treasure in and of itself. You aren't. You aren't penalized for early giving, or I shouldn't say giving up, early ceasing. Like if you're going to hold, and maybe you stay there for a while. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't pursue it right away. Right? The treasure hunt doesn't go stale. It's not. It's a treasure hunt for everyone. It's not. Someone isn't going to discover it and take your treasure, right? it's constant. It's always going to be there, and you can pursue it if and when you're interested in doing so. Um, it's not like the egg hunt at my house, where we would periodically we'd lose one or two every year. We had a big house with a lot of places to hide, and I think sometimes the dogs got them. But every now and then we'd find one that no one could remember how long it had been there or where it came from. And yeah, those were not great. Luckily, they were hard boiled, so they didn't explode. But that's not the kind of treasure we're looking for. We're looking for the knowledge and the next step. All right, let's do some asana. How about that? Let's do pranayama because we didn't do it yesterday. Hopefully you did it later. I hope you did. I did. And remember your Agnisara if you want to work on some of that. Also good. get that digestion going. That's a great thing to do shortly before you eat as well. I wouldn't do it right before you eat, but if you have an empty stomach and you do that, maybe half an hour or something before you eat, it's a good way to stimulate your digestion and get your, make sure that you are going to digest your food well. Some people, so in our country, we have a lot of issues with food. I would say intolerances. I mean, certainly there are people with food allergies, but I think a lot more people have what they call food intolerances, which means they are having trouble digesting certain types of food. It doesn't really sit well in their system. So um, the sad fact is that most of these intolerances are literally our digestive system just not doing a really good job. Um, so you can avoid those foods, which is probably a good idea if you're having pain and suffering. But even better would be to get that digestive system working a little better so that we can handle and tolerate a wider range of foods. Because as we know, variety in your diet is so vitally important. Right? Um, one of the problems that people get with digestion and food intolerances is they are sticking to maybe, I forget, I read the statistics somewhere. It was not good. We don't eat that many different foods. Most of us stick to, eating maybe the same 5 to 10, 5 to 10 types of foods um, repeatedly over and over and over again, right? And if you're like eating on your own, if you're not cooking for a bunch of people, it can be even less than that, right? Because you get stuck in a rut and maybe you buy something and you have a lot of it, so you just eat it all week or something. Um, I understand, this does happen, but it's not good. I would definitely recommend that you mix that up if you can. If you're getting fed up with it, trying to do this stuff for yourself, there are some really amazing meal kits out there. Um, they'll mail them to your house. They are, we've been doing a couple of them recently over the pandemic just because we are cooking home so much and really everyone just gets really fed up with the same things over and over again. So we've tried for some variety. They are not as environmentally dangerous and hazardous as I thought initially. Packaging is not too bad. There's very little food waste, which I think is excellent. Um, so if you're interested in trying any of these, send me an email because I always get free boxes that um, you can pass on to people, and then they can try it and see what they like. Um, it's a nice way to mix it up, but to also be eating fresh food. And one of the things that is so interesting is that, so in Ayurveda, one of the real sticking points when it comes to food and diet is that they're very specific about cooking your food every day. Right? They want you to cook every day because leftover food is not good for you. Food at its peak is, you want to eat it then. That is its peak nutrition, everything good. If you're consistently eating leftovers every day, day after day after day, you're really robbing yourself of a lot of nutrition and a lot of potential good health. Um, but it's a lot of work, right? Cooking every day, you got to plan, you got to do all this. Da, 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 da. Meal kits, very helpful for this. You don't have to think, it's all right there. You just pull it out of the fridge, cook it up. Autopilot comes with a thing, recipe. If you live with somebody else, you can just hand them it and say, cook this. I love that because my husband um, he's great in the kitchen, but he really doesn't like planning it. So if I can say, here, honey, take this stuff and do something, he does it. My kids do it. I had to take my daughter um, out to pick something up right at dinner time. And I said to my son, hey, cook dinner. And he said, hey, great. here's the thing, right? So it's a great way to delegate responsibility if that is up to you. And I want to shout out to my friend Rachel Scott, who may or may not be on this call, for getting me on this with Purple Carrot, which was the one, the vegan one. So they're all different ones. There's vegan. There's another one that we do, HelloFresh, that's just general. You can pick vegetarian or regular or whatever. So it's good. But one of the things I have really appreciated with that is there is a wider variety of foods. So we're trying new things. We're eating a few different things. I would say Purple Carrot more than HelloFresh is. A lot of it is very similar types of things, just repurposed, right? But that's what I did anyway, so it's fine. So yeah, getting the digestion going will then allow you maybe to do that, to digest things on a better level, and then maybe kind of break out of what you have kind of set yourself in this box of things that you will eat and won't eat. What's important about that is if we are trying to, and most of us are not really eating this wide range of foods, so we're skipping some nutrients that we could be getting. So many foods have really trace amounts of different nutrients that we can use, that we really need. And we're robbing ourselves of them because we are not touching into those food groups. And as we all know, right, getting your nutrition from your food is the real key here. Now, if you are restricting your food, like if you're not eating that much, say you're trying to lose weight or you're on a very restrictive diet, you're probably taking vitamins, multivitamins or something, which is good, it's fine, but know that they're not the same quality for your body as you're going to get from the food. So if you can kind of branch out, even just eating a couple of things, your body's going to thank you for it. So it's a lot, right? It's a lot. Gotta try new foods, gotta do all this, don't worry about it though. Your body is so adaptable, so infinitely adaptable, that even if you just had a few bites of this and a few bites of that, it's the variety, right? That helps over time. Right. So we're gonna sit and breathe. I'm not gonna do Agni Sara, but if you want to do it, you can. You could also do it like at the end of practice. Sometimes I do it at the very end of practice, before I go off and do whatever I'm going to do for the day. I feel like for me, it works better after practice because I feel like I'm kind of loosened up and I can do more manipulation, right, of this area. When, you're kind of cold, right? I mean, not really cold, but like your body is cold. You haven't used it all night when you were sleeping. I don't think things move quite as well. So, all right. Sitting tall, shoulders relaxed. We're breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, maybe count of 4 in, maybe 6 out. So uneven breathing, but longer on the exhale than the inhale. And then back to just normal breathing. Drop the chin down toward the chest. And then start moving the head around in a big circle. Going one way and then the other. A couple times around. Back up to your seat. Lean forward, move around. One way and the other. Back up to your seat. Arms wide. Take a deep breath. Exhale, hands together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Interlace the fingers. Lift your hands. We're gazing up. And then arms down by your side. Inhale, lift. And lower. Lift. And lower. Once more, lifting up. And then right arm by your side, reach across the left. Switch sides. And then lift the shoulders, roll back. And forward. Right hand on left knee, left arm behind, sit tall, deep breath, twist. Back to center, switch sides, twist right. And then back to center. Soles of the feet together. Sit tall, deep breath, lean forward. Come on back up. Let's extend the legs. Point and flex the feet. And then rotate through the ankles. One way and the other. Bend the knees. Let's catch a hold of the toes or the tops of the feet, leaning back and steadying yourself. Some extension then, halfway or the whole way. Bend the knees. We're going to extend the left leg. Hug that right leg in. Sit tall. And then lowering the knee. We're going to sit tall again. Shoulders back. Take a deep breath. And then we're folding forward, reaching the left arm down for the left foot. And if you're having issues, right, tight hamstring or something, have a little bend in the knee. That's okay. It doesn't have to be pressing that knee tight down to the floor. A little bend will sometimes give you just enough room to fold a little more. Back up, switch things around. And then taking a deep breath, we'll lean forward. Back up, both legs out, deep breath, fold forward. Remember, we're initiating this movement from the hip, right? So we're coming, before we've even started to like move the arms, right? You could even bring the arms back here. That's actually a great way to feel it. Bring the arms behind you and then start to fold, right? You'll feel that it's different. It's different down here, right? Shoulders aren't involved in this at all. They're just kind of going along for the ride. Back up, and then let's do a regular one, right? But the same thing. We've got the same feeling in the body. Arms are just pointed out in front instead. And back up. Bend the knees. Soles of the feet onto the mat, lowering down. Resting on your back. Take a few breaths. So laying on your back on the yoga mat is truly a magical experience. My daughter was having some back pain. I think she'd been trying to like read in bed and propping herself up and moving around. She'd done something to her back. Right? She's not a kid anymore. And Yeah, so she was kind of hobbling around having some issues, and I suggested, hey, go lay down on a yoga mat on a hard floor. Just lay there for a little bit, see what happens. And it definitely improved, right? So this flat floor is a good kind of reset for a lot of things that can shift around and move funny in your back. It's always my first stop when I'm having some issues. Um, just lay down on your back, see what happens. A lot of times it can really help move things back where you want them to be. Let's hug that right leg in, left leg long. Switch it around. And then both legs long. Let's bring the feet wide on the mat, arms out to a T or goalpost arms. Breathe. So when you're in a position like star, is a great time to try to relax through the whole center body, the hip area, the abdominal area. So a lot of times if you do have issues with your lower back or issues with your hips, you'll notice when you lay in these positions, there's a lot of tension down there, right? You're holding things a little gingerly because you're not sure what's going to happen. Um, so as you're laying, you can try to kind of gently relax, see if things will kind of um, move where they're supposed to be. It's not until we get into these positions sometimes that we realize how much tension we are holding habitually in our body, um, either from injury or fear of injury or just habit. Right? Uh, these type of poses, this laying on the mat, is a time to encourage you to allow the body to rest, to let go of whatever you're holding on to, um, because we're not going to do anything unusual here, right? I mean, well, we might, but you're going to get lots of notice. You're going to get a lot of warning. If I ask you to do something, you can choose to do it or not to do it. It's not like real life where things come at you and you have to adapt. Your yoga is how you craft it. It is your choice. It is a place where it is safe to be completely relaxed, to allow your body to be completely open and vulnerable to whatever is going on because you can choose. It is your choice what you want to do. That's a new thing sometimes for many people. This idea that they are in control of what is happening um, in your yoga room, in your yoga space. You are the ultimate director, right, of how this goes. It's a great feeling. So if you've got a block, we're going to do supported bridge. Um, if you don't want to, if you feel great just laying like this, continue. Again, your choice. But I'm going to do supported bridge. How about that? So we've got heels back, close to the body. Feet are about hip width apart. Get your block and find a place where that feels just right for you. And breathe. If you feel like bringing knees in, you can. And then I'm going to remove the block and just rest back down, soles of the feet together, knees apart. You could also just extend the legs if you want. And we're going to move into Savasana. If you have a pose that you want to do before you get started, you can. Sometimes we know, right, just what we need to do to move the body and get in a state of relaxation. So whatever it is, find that place. Breathe, relax. Feeling steady, feeling at peace. Moving now, oops, fingers and toes, hands and feet, maybe stretching if that's good for you. And then moving over to your side, maybe right side. And then making your way up to a seat. We'll bring hands together for a deep breath in and out. Thank you for taking time today for yoga and for sharing this class with me. I hope you have a lovely Wednesday. Namaste. Okay, meditation. We haven't done this in a while. I hope you've been doing some on your own. It's easy to do. You don't need a class or anything else. Maybe a timer so you don't sit there all day, but even that is, unless you're trying to do a certain number of minutes a day or something like that. Some people do hours, not me. Then you don't really need a timer. You just do it as long as you are moved to do it that day. All right, so we're sitting comfortably with supported, feeling just a really peaceful place. Breathing. Find that steady but gentle focus, right? Just holding kind of loosely onto your awareness. Okay, we're back. Hopefully that was a peaceful 5 minutes for you. All right. And have a great day. Enjoy the weather. Get outside. Take a walk. Something. I know you can, just even for 5 minutes, even if you just go out at lunch and take a break. We're not going to have too many days like this. I know I was talking to my son, and he's like, I love, I guess, was it yesterday when it was cool? He said, I love this, but I know it's not going to last. Well, that's a good thing to remember about everything. I love it, but it's not going to last. Or I hate it, but it's not going to last, right? Nothing's going to last. So enjoy the time or get through it, knowing it's going to change. Right? You're welcome, Susan. All right. See you tomorrow.